Man, hey Frankie, on the power of the outbound call, you and I were talking about this on the Loan Officer Breakfast Club this morning, which, by the way, if you're not going, loanofficerbreakfastclub.com, it is a free resource. Also, when you go there, check out the tabs. Frank does an amazing job of in the news and just some really cool tools and resources. But this morning, you and I were like, we got to jump on a podcast and talk about this. It's not about perfection. It's not about planning. It's not about the fear of call reluctances. And the question was this: do you need to have more conversations every week? And if you had more conversations every week and more asked for the business, would you close more loans? And the answer is yes. So the
Absolutely, yes.
question is not how do I have more conversations? Because if you knew how to do it, you would. It's what would need to be different if
Mm,
more conversations were had on my behalf. And
right,
that led
right.
into a rich conversation, man.
Well, and the rich conversation was led by your recent experiences too, because you're recently, I hate to say starting over. That's just a
Well, it
weird
is
way to
starting
say it.
over, you know? It's
It
like,
is,
but
but
with all the
it's
knowledge.
yeah, yeah. So, but kind of starting over. Man, you forged a great new relationship with a new partner.
Yeah.
I'm just so happy for you guys and what you're doing. What's really cool is you are taking the time to get things going and documenting it
Yeah.
step by step,
Yeah.
minute by minute, hire by hire,
Yeah.
everything inside and out. And you're using the tools that we have and that you've had many of them that you've helped create
Yeah.
to fast track
Yeah.
this experience of starting over again, and the numbers are just staggering what you've pulled off.
Yeah.
Today's conversation was so interesting to me because what we talked about on Breakfast Club was, like you said, if we had more outbound calls, more
Right.
conversations, asked for the business more times, would our business look better? Of course it would. Nobody would say
No.
no to that, right? If you say no to that, you're just, I don't know what you are, right? But any normal thinking loan officer, salesperson
Right.
would say, obviously, yes, we would have more business. But then the problem there is we think, well, how do I do that? Who do I hire? What's it going to cost? I can't afford it. There's all these things.
It's all the limiting beliefs. It's like, well,
Yeah,
I can't afford 60,000 a year. Who's going to manage them? And see, all of those are just stoppers.
yeah.
That it's all the shoulda, woulda, couldas, how. Oh, hey, here's one we heard Carl. I've done that before. It didn't work. It's
That's a
like,
great one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, but
No.
one of the things when we talked about it today, I just keep hearing Carl in the back of my head. So when we say starting over, I went from retail to wholesale. I'm in the mortgage broker space now, and I was leading a national team to now I have the privilege of partnering with a dear friend of mine, Drew Brantz at Pro Lending, and so we have Pro Lending Mortgage, and Frankie, I'm now back originating. And what's
Yeah.
great is I've spent 4 years taking what I'd learned the previous 20 years and coaching loan officers and building teams. And now I'm just saying, okay, I get to do it again. And the question is, how fast can we get blow past double digits? And how fast can I do it where all roads don't lead to Steve, knowing what I know now? And I think the number one thing I kept hearing, because for everybody who's listening, and we're not rolling this out yet. I'm creating a whole series called Starting Over. We'll probably release in 90 days. And I'm just documenting the journey because I want to show that what we coach and what we teach works. It absolutely works. And I want to see how fast I can do it. And Frank, what's interesting is I kept hearing Carl in my head. Carl, we've all been with Carl for a while, and I partnered with Carl 4.5 years ago. And what I keep hearing is this: offers minus no's equals money.
Mm.
And then what I keep thinking is, how do I make more offers? Because if everything ends with Steve, we're going to be limited. I can only make so many calls, have so many consultations, talk to, so many appointments, all that stuff. So the first thing I thought about is what would need to happen to have anywhere from 2 to 400 outbound calls a week and probably closer to 500. And so I thought, okay, well, yeah, I need somebody else calling. And then I thought about this, Frank. Well, what would that person look like? Well, preferably they would be mature, they would be seasoned, they would be a self starter, they would be somebody that literally I could check in with. Frank, my callers, I check in with maybe twice a week. And I know that that sounds like, well, you're not a good steward and you're not a good manager. No, I'm a terrible manager. But
Mm,
what I am really good at doing is finding great talent that's self motivated. So I just thought about it like, what am I good at? I'm good at inspiring, I'm good at coaching, and I'm good at helping people stay accountable to the metrics. Well, what's my metric? I want 200 outbound calls, I want 60 conversations, and I want 5 booked appointments and 10 relational leads a week. That's what I want. So
mm,
what does it need to like in my mind I'm crystal clear. And then so one of the things we did that was really really cool was I just thought, okay, well, I'm going to test this out. Where's the next closest, like how do I do this without putting it on Indeed? And Frank, the greatest tool most of us have that's underutilized is what about social media? I got a pretty
yeah.
good following. When I post something, there's hundreds of comments and likes, and especially when it's around family. And so I just said, well, I'm going to create a cool little ad. And it's not even an ad, just a post. It just said, I need your help. Hey, I'm looking for, and this is kind of peripheral, but I'm looking for somebody. And I listed it. I talked to chat and said, self starter, motivated, loves people, not calling a cold list, calling warm relationships, waking them up on my behalf, part time, 8, 10, 15 hours a week. If you're interested, shoot me a DM. And man, I had 20 people respond. I met with about 15. I was going to hire one, but there were such good candidates. There was actually 3 killer candidates, Frank. One of them was a lady that we worked together 15, 20 years ago who's now retired and said, I'm bored. I need to do something like, but I only want to work 8 to 10 hours a week. I said, awesome. Then I had a past client who's been like, I've been watching you and Steph for years. I love you guys. She lives in Oklahoma. I'm in Texas. She's like, I need something to do 10 hours a week. And
Mm,
I'd love to do it. And so now I got 2 callers working 10, then they're inching up 10 to 15 hours a week because they're getting such good results.
yeah.
But and really there was a third one I didn't hire yet. But Frank, I'm about to go back and bring her on because I'm like, dude, the more conversations, the more ask. And that is what we just started with. If you had more conversations, you asked for the business, would you get more? And the answer is simply yes. And I think the challenge is in our lives, we think it's got to be me. And let me tell you the results. So in the last we're between 7 and 8 weeks right now. They've made part time. So they've cost me 300 to 500 bucks a week a piece. But listen to this. And somebody would be like, and look, when I did it, did I think it was going to work? I didn't know. I just didn't want a non-US based caller making these calls. I wanted
Mm.
somebody who was mature, somebody I didn't have to micromanage. And listen,
And they kind of know you already because of the social
yeah,
media, so they're familiar with Steve and Stephanie. So that was an important piece that you mentioned
a
today
hundred
too.
percent. Yeah,
Yeah.
because what I don't want to do, and the mistake I've made in the past, like for me personally, I'm pretty visible in my market. I mean, I run targeted ads, and a lot of people know me. I didn't want to be this gunslinger just banging out hard calls. So I
Yeah.
want to do it in a cool way. And that's just for me. So instead of asking how, what I asked was, what would it look like? And Frank, that paints a different picture because for
Yeah.
me, it was somebody that knows me, that's in and around my life, more mature, self-starter. But listen, to this the results are crazy, and mine. My hey, Steph actually busted my chops on this, but I'll tell you. So we had 2009 outbound calls, and this is without my calls. This is just theirs because I'm making a couple hundred outbound calls myself. So, and this is just their results, not ours. And I'll tell you, our lead count has doubled month over month over the last 60 days. So, Frank, I'll tell you, that's what's been exciting too. But here's the results. They've made 2009 outbound calls. They've had 395 conversations. They've booked 29 appointments. And let me tell you this 2 appointments I had Friday have already sent me relational leads. And they've had 18 relational leads already come in the door. And this is in the last 7 to 8 weeks. And here's
Mm.
what I know we end up closing 1 out of 4 leads. So what they've really done is they've put almost 4 deals, 4.5 deals in the pipeline. I've got 3 contracts for 1.3 million, and I've got 10 clients pre-approved for 3 million. Hey there, if you're loving the tips so far, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss out on more cool free tips coming your way. I'd also love to hear from you. Make sure to drop a comment below and let me know what you think, or what it is you want to see next. And we'll see you on the inside. See you. And that's happened in 60 days. Now, have they all funded? No, but they will, and it takes 90
Mm,
days to build a pipeline. And
right.
what I've been able to watch too was like last month, I think and again, you got to talk about 60 days ago, I wasn't even originating a loan. So
Right.
last month I had 20 leads. This month, and we're only halfway through the month, I'm already at 26 leads.
Mm,
I told Steph we'll be at 40 leads. 40 leads is 8 fundings a month, and it won't fund in 90 days. I was hoping to fund them by 90 days,
yeah.
but it'll fund in month four
Yeah.
because and here's what I just want to inspire people to. It's the conversations that'll change your business. It's how many conversations a week are you having? And here's the thing, it's not limited by you. It's people in and around your life. So if I've got a relationship manager making outbound calls and they're having 200 outbound calls and I got another one making 200 outbound calls and I'm making 100, 200 outbound calls, your business will explode. Well, what happens
Mm,
if it's messy, Frank? It will be messy. The
yeah.
first few weeks it was a
Not if.
flop. Yeah, like in one of the hey, and here's what I will do too. If you want to know more about the relationship manager and you're not a member of the marketing animals, go to freedomplanningcall.com, schedule the what is it, the strategy call. We'll give you my 7-page guide. What's really cool, Frankie, you said that I'm documenting start to finish. I'm documenting what I'm doing in marketing, what I'm doing in phone calls, how I'm saying it, how they're saying it, how I'm training them, which I'm not doing much training. I'm just giving them resources. But I'll give you the 7-page field guide just for scheduling a strategy call. Now, for our members, I did a whole class and I walked an hour through it. Plus, we'll give you the field guide, and I got bonus content in there as well. So, for our members, just email support, they'll give you everything. But for our non members, if you'll book a strategy call, I'll give you the field guide. So, but
Yeah.
Frankie, my
Freedomplanningcall.com.
inspiration, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Freedomplanningcall.com is where they want to go.
freedomplanningcall.com. Hey, and I think the biggest thing I want to do right now is just inspire people. The business is out there, and you don't have to be the one who makes calls. We got a buddy of ours, a dear friend, and he's got a killer database. And he said, "Oh man, I know I need to do more." You know what I asked him, Frank? I said, "Well, why aren't you?" "Oh man, I just don't want to make the." This is just real honest conversation. "Dude, I'm busy. To be candid, I don't really want to make the calls." I said, "Why do you have to be the one to make the calls?" He said, "Man, it's just because that's how it is." I said, "No, it's not. Let me tell you what I'm doing." And he's like, "Oh, dude, that's so cool." I said, "Who in and around your life right now has 4 to 5 hours a week they could make 50 to 100 calls?" And he said, "Hey, I got somebody."
Mm,
And I said, "Who is he?" He said, "Well, she works for me in another one of my companies, but she just asked me if I could get more hours."
mm.
And I said, "Well, can she make calls?" He said, "Yeah." "Do you think she'd want to make calls?" "She wants money." I said, "All
Yeah.
right." I said, "Here's my field guide." I said, "You don't even have to pay her W-2. I'm paying my people 1099."
Mm,
And I just said, "Look, it's 1099. We'll go 90 days, see if it works out. We're 60 days in. They're crushing it. And will they go W-2? I don't know. I like the way we got it set up." But
yeah.
I said, "Just pay her 1099, extra cash, extra, I mean, report it, but extra money."
Mm,
And he said, "Well, how did you train her?" And I said this, inside the membership, Frank, I gave them Dr. Butler's script. I gave them Thor's hammer, and I gave them the database. And all three of those are inside the membership. I gave them the video. I didn't even give them the training, just the
right.
video.
That
And
that was the coolest
"Watch
part about
this,
it. Yeah.
and you pull the scripts out, and you tell me the structure of the call. I'm not doing it for you. You do it." Within 24 hours, had everything ready, had her list ready, made the calls, and our buddy didn't even know. She texted me. She texted me a screenshot and said, "I killed it. Look at all my calls. Look at all these results." And I later, it was actually the next morning. I think it was either morning or that afternoon. I literally called our buddy and I said, "How does it feel to call through your database?" And his first response, "What do you mean? I didn't." "Oh, dude, it feels pretty good."
Mm, yeah, it does.
I said, "That's it. Like in our industry, we think you got to make the call. You got to have the No, no, no. Like, does it help? Yes. Like I'm making calls because I'm trying to ramp up faster. But I'll promise you this, even if I didn't make the calls, they're still going to be mostly effective. You'll
Mm,
always be more effective than somebody else calling on your behalf
mm,
just because there's deeper relationships, longevity, but not by much. And there may be a point they pass you, But I'm just telling you, it's amazing. Like, even for our buddy, when he was like, oh, yeah, I did call my database, and celebrating it and realizing, dude, great job. You don't
Yeah.
have to do it. Somebody's got to do it, because offers minus no's equals money. And let me just say one last thing. If you will commit to having 13 conversations a day and 13 asks for the business, that one activity alone will transform your business. And then when you add a relationship manager, and you do the same thing, put their metrics the same: 200 outbound calls, 60 conversations, 5 appointments, 10 relational leads, and just work the numbers. I'll tell you this here, you and I both know that every conversation and ask, we have seen mathematically it's 18% referrals. Stephanie busted my chops yesterday because I'm 60 days in, and and I ran all the numbers, because for me, I'm documenting it all. You know what my number was?
Mm,
12. The script master, the process king. But you know what I told her? I said,
mm,
yeah. I said, but I know the metric. So we're at
mm,
12. 12% is better. It's 29 appointments, 18 leads that wouldn't have
mm.
happened had they not been working
Right.
for us. Four and
Yeah.
a half deals in the pipeline that I know will close. But no, she was busting my chops because she's like, yeah, but your conversion's lower. I said, yep. And I know the number. So now what we're going to
Right.
do is increase that conversion and continue to get better. And that's what
Right.
I love about it. It's like, even if it's sloppy, the first 30 days, it was 8%, Frank.
Mm,
So, I mean, I'm just telling you, it wasn't killer. I wasn't like, oh, we're just knocking it out the park. But I knew the metric is 18. The first 30 days, why? We had dropped calls, poor conversations. They were
yeah.
average conversion. But every
Yeah.
week it was like, hey, what came up?
Getting
What can we
better.
get better?
Getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tweak.
Even last week,
Adjust. Yeah.
well, even last week, Melissa said, I'm a little discouraged. And listen, even messy, like the whole week of one of the holiday weeks, one of them didn't even call. Last week, one of them had a death in the family, didn't call. And she said, I'm discouraged. And I said, hey, but let me tell you what happened on Friday. You booked me 2 agent appointments. And every time I get a win, I just celebrate. And I said, both agents have now committed to working with me. Both agents are qualified. One of them did 123 transactions, Frank.
Dang.
And she sent me a lead same day, Friday.
God.
I know it. And then another one, listen, she's getting 3 listings a month, and she is killing it. Her name's Kimberly. And she put me in her newsletter. I wrote an article, and all this has happened just in 4 days. And
Yeah.
so I high five Melissa. I'm like, look, don't be discouraged. Yes, some calls stink, some are good. But I'm telling you this, your calls are making an impact, because both love God, both want to make a difference, both want to help people, both, like, there's such a synergy. And
Yeah.
and it's like, I promise you this, it's not perfection, it's progress. And guess what? Our conversion's going up. We know the metrics 18%. We know the ultimate goal is 60 conversations per relationship manager with 5 appointments and 10 leads each. And are we there? Nope. But every week we're getting a little bit better. So my encouragement to everybody, and that's what we wanted to talk about, was you don't have to be the one, but somebody has to. And it
Mm,
doesn't have to be you. It's easier than you think. We'll give you the field guide. Look, that's my act of coolness. I didn't even think about it till this morning. It's like, dude, I'll just give you the field guide. Book into a
yeah.
strategy call, freedomplanningcall.com. For our members, we have it all on the site. I'm laying it out so that you can just follow what I've done to get people to help you make calls.
Mm.
So,
Great stuff, man.
dude,
Good
it's so
stuff.
fun. It's
Yeah.
fun because you can do this, and it doesn't have to bottleneck with you.
And I'm just going to say it, man. If you haven't, please go to freedomplanningcall.com. Look into membership,
Oh my
because
gosh, dude.
one of the biggest challenges in this, everything you just talked about, is definitely, okay, I got somebody, but now I got to teach them. You didn't have to teach them anything. The
I didn't
resources were
know. Yeah.
there to send them. You said, here's the information. You consume it. You internalize it. You figure it out. You come to me with questions,
Yeah.
right? And then they did it. And
Yeah.
they did it, and they were ready to go. The resources were available to train them. You didn't even have to train them, for goodness sake, right? They
Dude,
were
I just
ready to
literally
deploy.
grabbed the videos and
Right.
sent it to them in a link and
Yeah.
said, watch
Here
it.
you go.
And
Yeah.
I said,
Learn
you need to
this.
tell me, the like, you know what we do? Hey, Frank, and I know this is going to go long. You know what? Join us for episode 2. We're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
How about that? Join
That
us for
sounds
next
good.
week's episode. So we're going to wrap this one up. freedomplanningcall.com. Join us for next week's episode. I'm going to talk to you about the power of how to hire and train somebody without doing all the work. So,
Love it.
all right. See you.
All right. Adios.